Namaste everyone.
Namaste.
So here we are, the three musketeers, the three Sookshmas, in the presence of the ancient sage. We are connecting to you wherever you are in the world, and interested to talk and share about some of the experiences. Swetha is here, Hajar is here, and in fact, Hajar, you were there. Swetha, you missed. You missed.
Yeah.
Amazing workshop at Banyan Books yesterday in Kitsilano in Vancouver. It was about 40 people. It was a packed space. It was blissful experience. Everyone was just sitting in that nice, cozy, comfy place. And of course, ancient sage Sunita took us back to ancient times, talking about this great ancient sage Yajnavalkya and his experiences and how he caught the subtlest of the subtle Sookshma. And the beauty of Master always, yesterday too she was saying that, people think I am Sookshma or I created Sookshma. No. Sookshma is the ancient most experience of these ancient sages in the age of truth, Satya Yuga. Right? And Sunita always emphasizes that I am just a channel. I am just a laborer cleaning and purifying you and helping you to experience that subtlest of the subtle vibration called Sookshma. And obviously everybody loved it, and everybody is ready to join for our November 10th workshop. Anyways, so coming to Swetha, how are you? How are things with you? I know you were very close to your due date coming soon.
Yes. Actually, it's been really interesting. When I was pregnant with my daughter 4 years ago, it was a different experience because I was in meditation once a week. It's easier when you don't have another child.
Yes.
So it was much easier to have my practice, and this time it's been interesting because there have been gaps in my practice to come and see Amma. So there have been moments where I've had to really focus and put an extra effort into my practice, especially with having another little one around and trying to focus on myself. But after I've started coming back for more sessions, especially towards the end of this pregnancy, and really making an effort to connect with that energy and try to focus, I've noticed that it's kind of like what you were talking about a little bit earlier about finding that energy inside of you that's you can't explain where that feeling and that ecstasy is coming from, and you know that it's not from something external, it's very internal. And what I've been noticing is I've also been doing some grief counseling, so it's been interesting for me to deal with life and death at the same time. So listening to people talk about death and dying and their pain of going through that experience, while I'm basically in the middle of the experience of life, and I feel like that has. If you told me 4 years ago that I was going to be doing that, I would have said no way. It's not something that I saw myself doing professionally or otherwise ever. But I was reflecting the other day about how far Sookshma has brought me, to the point where I find that work extremly rewarding. Wow. And I find that that subtle energy when we're talking about that, and it comes back to how we approach life and how we see this journey that we're on. And when you have when you tap into that meditation and you tap into Sookshma, you see things much more clearly. It's even things that are as difficult as death and dying or life. That I think is also a complicated topic for a lot of people to understand. So this time around it's been interesting, although I would say it's been more difficult in an external way. For me with this pregnancy, internally it's been one that's been giving me a lot of epiphanies and clarity.
Yes,
and
beautiful.
Yeah, and I feel like having that space away from Sookshma, while I didn't enjoy it, It has it served its purpose, because coming back now I can relate it to, oh, this is what I'm realizing, and I can feel that going deeper, and looking back and looking at where I am compared to where I have been. I just, it's an exponential growth within myself that I see that I don't think would have been possible without Sookshma.
Yeah, and like you said, when you're dealing directly with death, people in that state of dying, it needs so much of strength, enormous strength to be there without being getting exhausted, and you're able to do it because you found that strength in that subtlest of the subtle pure vibration you're talking about. And if you see, people who are watching us, they think like it's okay, meditation, you're just relaxing, but it's not just relaxing, but you're able to tap into that vibration of energy which has that infinite power to face anything in life, and you're able to help others face difficult situations. So there are two dimensions. You yourself are facing the most difficult situations in life, and helping others also handle that, and that's the beauty of Sookshma. And the word death reminds me of what Amma always says, death of vices, death of ego, right, is the birth of our true self, right? And that is what happens in Sookshma. We kill all those vices, we see the death of all that, and then there is this life emerging, which is eternal, beyond the physical body. Because our body, if you look at it, as the modern science says, and we know that, the body is changing constantly. Cells are dying every second, new cells are forming every second. So there is that force behind which is witnessing all these things, and that pure divine intelligence, that force is Sookshma. And using that in the context of people who are in hospice and helping them grieve and helping them relieve their pain and suffering is phenomenal. Yeah.
And I think it's like Sookshma has helped me to understand what that, it's almost like that concept of the third eye, like that different way of knowing.
Yes.
And I think we've talked about this before, where you can read books to gain knowledge, you can do workshops, you can have degrees in things like mindfulness or meditation, you can do all of those things, but it's a really different thing to be able to be in that experience where
Absolutely.
Where you can feel what you are seeing, not from your eyes, but from within your being, and you just know what to do next.
Very powerful.
And that is an extremely powerful feeling.
Yes.
And I think that's where, like in my professional life, I suppose, like since I'm talking about what I'm doing professionally, that's where I feel like that ecstasy. So that's where you're not depleting yourself.
Yes.
You're actually maintaining while you're engaging in that exchange of energy.
Very nicely said. In fact, just to clarify about the third eye that Swetha was talking about, ancient wisdom says, we have the third eye, and in pictures of gods and goddesses, you see this third eye kind of opening like this, right? But technically, it's just a representation, but truthfully, what Swetha said is so powerful that it is not that a physical eye is there, the third eye. Your pure consciousness, your subtlest of the subtle is the third eye. And that experience, you don't need these physical eyes anymore. And which is what Master Sunita does when we are in front of her. She's not looking at us through these physical eyes into our physical body, but she's looking through the third eye, through that subtlest of the subtle, and connecting to our subtlest of the subtle. And because of her pure empathy, pure divine extreme empathy, all our impurities are cleansing, and she's taken upon the pain and suffering. And then we are just starting to lift to that higher states of consciousness. A rare feat that you can see in this modern, chaotic, hectic world. Ancient times, that seriously used to be there, right? Hajar, now your turn. We've been talking a lot.
It's okay. I enjoyed listening to Swetha. As Swetha's talking, I'm thinking about the concept of death, the concept of birth, the concept of loss and hunger and depression and all the things that are out there, and how Sookshma has helped me. I don't get caught up in the terminologies. Sookshma is really a journey, it's an experience. But I feel like people are in pain, or I'm in pain or I'm not happy, not because there is death, there is loss, there is depression, but because I'm trying to run to left and right all the time, trying to get myself out of those situations. I think that's why a lot of people feel unhappy, and that's what my personal experiences have been. But then through that conscious awareness of above and beyond your body kind of consciousness, you're able to actually see way more than what your body can taste and feel, whether it's in the form of pain, whether it's in the form of pleasure. So yeah, that's something I wanted to talk about, Swetha's experience. Yeah, a lot of other things actually can be said in this video. For me, I mean, my personal experience has been more of a journey, more of a ride. You know, when you sit in a train and there's all these beautiful views and you experience them all, and it's so part of your big memory, and then somebody else wants to experience that. You can't actually give that experience to them unless that person gets on that train, get into that journey and sees all the beautiful views and all of that. So yeah, that's all I want to share.
I love your analogies always, Hajar. The way you were comparing to a garden and the lot in the other video, and now you're talking about a train. It's absolutely true. Very beautifully said. You know, unless you get onto the train, you can't experience the journey. And that train is the Sookshma. And we are not saying, Sookshma again is not like a cult or a group or anything. That train is there everywhere. It is there in you, it is there in you, it is there in you, it's there in me. But we have to get onto the train, right? That inner train. And once you get onto the train can take you everywhere in the world. Because this whole world is energy. Sunita says always, right? Pure energy is there everywhere. Every person has that pure energy, but covered by that vices, covered by that subconscious clutters. And once that is removed, it's gone. Then you are part of this whole feeling of oneness. And then wellness and fullness automatically happens. So anything else, Hajar, Swetha, you wanted to share?
No, actually, when I was talking about the analogy of the train, I was thinking, it's such a good analogy for like what a lot of these days people expect from like meditation or like mindfulness, whatever label you want to put on it. Some people think, if I read this book, it'll be good. If I follow this video, and it's kind of like, well, you could read a book about a train ride. You can watch a video about a train ride. You can look at some pictures. It's not the same as being on the train. And I thought, of course, right? And I think that is the next step for, maybe that's the next level of awareness that is needed is, the experience. There is something powerful about the experience that can't be felt and experienced in any other way.
Absolutely, very well said. An ounce of transformation is important than tons of information. Right? We have tons of information, like you said. I think now the world is going to shift to the transformation side. There is information out there everywhere, especially with our Google. Every information is attainable like this, right? But that's not the end. The end is the transformation. And as you said, that information can actually be attained very easily when you tap into that inner being. And which is what the workshop at Banyan Books yesterday was, Awakening Bond with the Inner Being. And it's again a phenomenal title given by Master with a very deep understanding, because when you tap into that inner being, the information is accessible very easily. There used to be amazing saints in the past who just would not have to look into a book. Actually, keep the book there and they just close their eyes and they can see everything in that book. And they were able to do that because that inner being, which is there everywhere, you're able to connect to that. So everybody experienced that inner being yesterday at Banyan, and it's a perfect setup, because once you experience that inner being, which is the first step, now you want to move to the next step of experiencing eternal ecstasy. So again, please join. I'm sure you will be joining, and let your friends and families know about this beautiful workshop that's coming up on November 10th from 3 to 5 p.m. Eternal Ecstasy, so that we can all immerse ourselves in that effortless eternal ecstasy. Thank you very much, Hajar
Thank you.
and Swetha, and thank you all. Namaste.